Nathan, hi. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time this morning. Well, it'll be this evening when we're playing this video, but thanks for joining us.
No problem.
So I will tell people a little bit about the partnership already in pre-playing this video. But could you please tell us in your own words a little bit about Impact?
Yeah, of course. We're a recruitment agency, an education recruitment agency. We're based in London. Our passion is teaching and education. We work with a lot of schools, a lot of teachers, some teaching assistants as well. But we also have another element of our business, of our company, which is educational outreach programs, where we develop education and work with teachers overseas, which is how we got to work with Matt and with Memusi. So we are an education recruitment company, but we also do a lot of educational work in developing teaching and learning.
Brilliant, thank you, Nathan. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago that I met you. Now you reached out to me, which was great, and I told you all about Memusi because I know you were at the time you'd been in India. Was that right? Were you delivering the program in India?
Correct. Yeah, we'd had some time delivering in Delhi in India, and just with some changes, we were looking for a new partner, and which is how we got to know Matt.
Brilliant. So we spoke about Memusi, we spoke about Impact Teachers. Tell everyone who's listening a bit more about the program. So what does it look like? What do you do? Who's involved? Help people understand a little bit more about the work that you do in Kenya with us.
Yeah, the program's it's fantastic. We've been developing it for years now, years and years, and so we've had lots of opportunities and lots of different contexts to try things and to work things out. And as everyone knows, with education, there's a lot of forward feedback that needs to go on to get things right, and you're forever fine tuning. But what we've got to the point now, what we were doing in Magadi, was we take a team that has an impact leader, perhaps myself or another senior member at the company, and we bring a collection of volunteers, 6 to 8 volunteers. The volunteers are teachers that are generally based in London, working for us here in London, and those teachers have qualifications not always from the UK. Sometimes they're from Australia or New Zealand or from Canada or wherever. So we get a really cool, eclectic bunch of volunteers to come across, which I think is really great. It gives a very broad spectrum of education. So we come out to Kenya, and we bring our team, and the Memusi team looks after us on the ground. And what we do when we're out there is we deliver, through the use of seminars, sort of some broad educational concepts. So we touch on things like active learning, extending learning, effective feedback, all things that pedagogically people would be doing in their own training, regardless of their country, and the Kenyan teachers themselves will have done in their own training. But what we're doing is sort of going back to that theory, and we're underpinning it with a real focus on student engagement, exciting the students and having student-led and student-focused lessons. So that's how we deliver the content over a period of time in Kenya. We go out for a week at a time, and we do 3 separate trips, and each trip builds on the one prior to. But what really makes it different, I think what makes it unique and different to another professional development course, is that our volunteers take the theory that we deliver in the evenings and they implement it practically into the lessons of the teachers that they work with throughout the week. So we pair up our impact volunteers with the Kenyan teachers. They work with the same teacher throughout the whole week. They get to know them, they get to build a relationship, they collaborate. And what we encourage them to do is to take some of these concepts that we're talking about and actually put them into their specific classes, their specific lessons. So instead of just talking about a broad educational pedagogical concept, you're then taking that and saying, right, but how can a particular teacher do that in a grade 6 class or in the baby class? And we actually have our guys work with the Kenyan teachers to put together lessons and then observe them and then give them feedback. And that goes for a week. So by the time we get to the end of the week, there's been a huge amount of feedback and feed forward throughout. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to begin with on the Monday when it's still very new and people getting to know each other. But by the time we get to the Friday, what we witnessed was that our volunteers and the Kenyan teachers were working really, really well together, and the collaboration and the improvements that we were seeing were just incredible. So I guess what it is, it's no different to any sort of CPD that you see in the UK, but we take it a step further by actually implementing things, taking the theory and put it into practice, which is a difficult thing to do. And we saw a lot of improvements on that throughout the time.
Brilliant. And you know, this program is built to last over time, isn't it? You know, it's you've obviously gone and delivered it in 3 times in the year. You just touch upon as well how we make it sustainable as well, so that when you walk away, that it's there to stay within the school.
Absolutely. The two goals that we're working for. The one is to increase student engagement and attainment, which is great, and we can measure that through student grades, etc. But the other one is to put, as Matt says, some form of sustainability, and the sustainability comes in our work with the Kenyan teachers. So this creating a culture around professional development that's a positive culture, not a culture where they're worried where someone's looking over their shoulder as to what they're doing in the classroom, promoting a collaboration so that when we go away, ideally the Kenyan cohort can do that within their own classrooms, within their own schools, set up their own observations to help inform each other's professional development. So the idea is that we simply touch on some key concepts in terms of the pedagogy, but what we're really trying to do is introduce the idea of the positive notion of ongoing professional development. Look at what your colleagues are doing, be open to having people come into your classroom and assess what you're doing, and to feed that back to each other in a positive, collaborative way. It's a very interesting one, and anyone that's been in a teaching environment, if you have an observation, your first feelings is of anxiety. You're worried about, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Are they going to judge me? And it's us trying to break down that stereotype and say, well, actually, no, this can be really, really uplifting instead. And if we can encourage that to be a positive culture that's ongoing, then the sorts of improvements that we begin can continue, hopefully in a sustainable way moving forward.
Yeah. Brilliant. I know every time I've visited over the last couple of years, every time I visit, the impact materials out, the teachers are continually reviewing, led by Eric and Silas and a small group of people who've taken that leadership role, which is, so it's amazing to see. You know, I think for me, Nathan, as I've said to you before, teacher development is one of a number of pillars that will reach quality, and people will hear me say continually, a school is more than a building, and for a lot of charities, a school is a building. You know, once it's built, that's it. But for me, you need to get healthcare right, you need to get nutrition right, you need to have the materials right, but you also need to have the teachers with the right skills to be able to excel as well. And I think, you know, what you are contributing there is a key part of our strategy. So, you know, I can't thank you enough, and what Impact Teachers are doing enough in that space. I think it's remarkable. Already in the last year, we've seen our grades increase by 40 points, you know, which I think is fantastic. That's just children who've seen the benefit of Impact in a year. I think children 2, 3, 4, 8 years down the line who get to see this and get to see all of that benefit through teachers, I think it's the school's just gonna rocket from here. So I think it's fantastic. Thank you, Nathan. Just one final thing before you go. I could talk to you all day about education. Just one final thing before we go. Could you tell me, you've been to Memusi now 4 or 5 times, I think it is.
Yep.
Could you tell me a little bit about your impressions of Memusi and the teachers, the teaching team that we've got there?
Absolutely. I was really nervous the first time I went, because I'd never been to Kenya before, and I jumped in a Land Rover with Matt and we drove hours into the desert, and I was like, where are we going? But when we arrived there, we got a welcome like I've never had before, and in terms of just the incredible warmth and love and personality, and just the feeling of welcome that I got when I first arrived was amazing. And that was before they even really knew what we were sort of there doing. And it was a situation where I walked into an environment that was open to learn, really, really keen to do the best for their community, the best for their students. Really wanted to help each other out, collaborate as staff, and desperate for any opportunity to push themselves. You know, I was blown away by the level of sort of positive commitment that I saw from those teachers there in Magadi at Memusi, and I know just sort of how far some of them go to put in extra effort for their students, and the commitment that they have to that school. It was an environment that I wasn't expecting, and just to sort of work with people and collaborate with people that are passionate about education and are willing to literally do anything for their kids. It's, you know, that is a great environment to work in. It's why I came back 3, 4, 5 other times. That I went away from that first trip with Matt, and I said to my directors and other senior leaders at Impact, we got to go back there. That's where we need to be. That we got people there that are keen, that are receptive, and I came back feeling excited and rejuvenated. It's, you know, when you're around people like that, you get excited yourself. And as an educator, I found it very, very motivational. And I know that the teams that I've taken out since have come away feeling the same way. So it's I found it to be a great place to work and a great place to collaborate in.
Brilliant. Nathan, thank you ever so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Please pass our love from me and all the team in Kenya to everyone at Impact Teachers. And, you know, we look forward to seeing you again real soon when we're allowed to travel.
Sounds good,
Thank you, Nathan.
Cheers.